Hello, I'm Andrew Davis, and this is my presentation of my Smart Scholarship application for my final information systems project. So to start, this is the main menu where students can apply to the scholarship. For the breaking away from the given requirements, I just had the applicant input their student ID since we're already confirming all of the information with the registrar's office already. So I felt that having to input all that information just to have it be overridden is a bit unnecessary effort on part of the applicant. If this were a real project, I would probably have a conversation with the client about that. If we put in a valid student ID, then we will get a message saying that it was successfully submitted. And if we put in an invalid student ID, then it lets us know that the application failed. And then right here we can log in as a committee member. If this were a real project, I'd probably input a login system. So right here we can see we have a list of all of our applicants. We have a list of prior applicants. The list of prior applicants has their student ID number, their first name, their last name, the total amount of their bill, which is collected from the registrar's office, and then the date that they were awarded, with the first 4 digits representing the year and the last 2 representing the month. We also have options to reset the application system, which clears out both the current database of applicant data store and also clears out the local backup files for the applicant data store. And then we can also restore the awardees records on the database from the local backup, which I'll show both of these in a bit. We can also restore applicants data store from the local backup in the event of a server failure, and we'll show that in a moment. We also have the option to determine an awardee, which right now has to be determined. You have to click this button manually. If this were a real application, I'd probably discuss with the client about implementing an automatic activation of this on a given desired date. But if we click this, it'll determine our awardee. Right now we're told that we've actually picked an awardee automatically, so they'll just get added to the awardee backup. And then once we're done and we're ready to start the scholarship over again, we can just reset the application system and we're good to go. Now I can pull up the console here and I can show the different system actions that were performed during that last example. So this is where we started that example just a moment ago. We clicked the application button. We submitted our application for student number 1234 to the scholarship system. The scholarship system invoked a method in the data storage handler to create an application for student number 1234. The application was created successfully. The system attempted to retrieve the student information and update their information from the registrar's office, which invoked a method in the data storage handler, which did the same thing, which then invoked a method in the registrar's office, which attempted to retrieve the data from the records. It found the data for the records, including their email, and returned it. The information for the application and applicant data store was updated. A backup of the application data was created. The scholarship system is informed by data storage handler that the updated information was successful. The data storage handler then retrieved the cumulative GPA and date of birth for the applicant, which is then used to determine the eligibility of the applicant. And the system found that student 1234 was eligible. And if we continue to go down, we can see this is another creation of an application. This is another application. This is the next. Did we have one where an email was sent? Okay, so I'll have to show that in a minute. But all of the student applications were created much the same way. Then down here, we actually opened up the committee menu. The interface was set up. Let's see here. All of the displays were set up. And then here we actually called to determine an awardee. So we prepped all the applications for review. We prepped them for their final determination by retrieving the current semester GPAs from the registrar's office. And we did that for each of the applicants. And then we also determined the current ages of all of the applicants. And then once they were prepped, we determined the awardee. And we did the first step by picking the applicants with the highest cumulative GPA, of which there was only one with the highest GPA. The scholarship system emailed the winners and losers. So in this case, the email system on that date and time sent an email of the template type of awarded the SMART scholarship to our winner. We requested reimbursement for our winner. We began reimbursing them. We updated our awardee backup data. And then we updated our displays. And finally, we reset the list of applicants and the backup files. Next, I'd like to show what happens when we have a tie. So if we input two students which have the same performance on their records, we go into here, we determine awardee. We're informed that there was a tie and instructed to make the application portal of new applicants physically unavailable to students for new applications. And then we are provided the information for our two most eligible candidates. And then we have the options to award to one or the other. And in this case, we'll say that the committee voted and decided to make Alex our winner. So we click award, and we're given a warning reminding the committee member using the portal of the procedures that are in place that should have been followed. And once a committee member confirms that yes, all of these procedures have been followed and this is the opinion of the committee, then the award is given. Finally, I'd like to show how the XML and JSON backup files work. So for that, I have to go into here, and let's say there was a critical database error and we had to completely set up the database. So all of our data was hypothetically lost in both of our databases. So they're now blank. Well, the program will actually save a local copy of our two databases. So for awardees, it's saved in a JSON file, which if we open with, we'll use micro. Visual Studio. We'll see we have our list of awardees in here, serialized in JSON. And then if we go back into that folder, we also have a folder full of XML files for our applicant data store. And if we open one of these, we'll see all of our applicant data in there. And again, right now the databases are blank. The information has been lost. So what we can do is if we pull the program back up, see, right now it's all blank. If we hit Restore Applicants Data Store from Backup, it will automatically restore all the information from the XML files. And if we refresh this, we'll see all of our information is back. And likewise, if we reset awardees records from backup, all of our awardee records are back.